So you're just gonna sit right there, like a fucking lump on a lump? No, just kidding.
Like a bump on a lump.
Like a bump on a lump. Yeah. Like a bump of lumpagus.
Like a bump for lumpagus.
Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Tether Radio Podcast, the only podcast keeping you from spiraling out into the infinite abyss. This is Daniel, and I'm coming at you, as always, with my brother and co-host, Joseph.
What's happening, everybody? How you doing? Happy holidays. We're sitting on the edge of tomorrow today. 2019. Excuse me, it's just a couple of days away.
Yep.
Shit's about to get really, really real on 2019. So you and I have been hanging out for the past week or so.
Yeah.
On the holidays. Everything was good. Nobody killed each other.
No, so it was a safe holiday. We tried to ramp some RC cars with burning shit taped to them. Because that's normally what goes down on Bradley Christmas Eve.
And it was lackluster.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But it was cool. We had like a whole...
Everybody was mildly intoxicated, including the driver. Sorry.
Yeah,
yeah.
But we almost made it work.
Yeah.
You know? So, but anyway, so this is episode 30.
30, man.
Hell of an end to 2018. And yeah, man, 2019 is going to be a great year.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, without further ado, shall we?
Yeah. So yeah. So this first one that I pulled, it was actually, I thought it was pretty funny because you take anything that happens and then you look at social media and it's like even once it's been like proven or disproven or whatever, everybody just loves to postulate shit, and it's like a fucking gold mine for material. So,
yeah.
So yeah, I pulled this one from a local New York, I guess. I don't know who they're affiliated with, but just a local local news source to New York.
Okay.
Jeez, tongue-tied. But anyway, it was titled "Night Sky Over New York Turns Blue After Electrical Fault at Queens Con Edison Power Plant Causes Arc Flash."
Okay.
First of all, I would urge every listener and you to look at the videos if you haven't seen it. It looks like no shit, something out of like either an alien movie or some kind of like. It was almost like reminiscent of what was that movie with the guys that got their like superpowers from some meteorite or whatever that.
Yeah. I don't know.
I can't remember. Oh, Chronicle.
Oh, right.
That it was like they randomly like acquired these abilities.
They could fly and do all the things.
Yeah. So basically, what happened is there was an electrical fault, and it caused it caused a, and I want to, because this was kind of a fucking crazy thing. 138,000 volt piece of equipment had an electrical fault, so it basically created lightning for a small period of time.
Oh my
god!
Looks this video from the Atlantic is crazy. Have you seen this one?
Yeah. I mean, it literally looks like the fucking skies are opening up and like a Pacific Rim, like Kaji or whatever, is about to like dump down on on fucking New York, man.
Wow.
But
I'm gonna throw this other video from the Atlantic in, dude. That thing is crazy looking.
But it's super fucking kooky, man. And so, I mean, it was immediately, you know, I think one of the chief spokesperson for like, I believe for the mayor, maybe.
Okay. Con Edison or the mayor?
Mayor Bill de Blasio.
Okay.
He actually, the mayor tweeted as soon as the NYPD and FDNY are on the scene at a Con Ed facility in Astoria, where an apparent transformer explosion just lit up the sky over the city. As soon as we have more information, we'll share it. And then it says his chief spokesperson added, it was not aliens.
Yeah, dude, it's totally crazy. And like some of these pictures, man, are from Jersey.
Yeah. It's some weird shit, dude.
Yeah,
Like, it looks super weird. But but anyway, then you get into the social media shit, which is, I just fucking love it. And people are like, let's see. Oh, here we go. Somebody reported, or somebody posted on Instagram, or no, I'm sorry, Twitter. I'm tight because I know someone just got superpowers from that blue light. And then somebody else said something with accompanying one of the photos, and it said blue light in New York City equals aliens have arrived.
Dude, what's totally crazy is like, I mean, for most things there's a logical explanation, but can you fucking imagine you walk out and you see that? Like, you're tripping, man.
Oh, dude, especially being in New York. Like, it's shit. I feel like shit like that doesn't happen normally in big cities. It's like, it normally happens in like fucking Podunksville, like Indiana or some shit,
but
you know?
in Astoria, this shit is just going down.
Yeah, and I mean, apparently they lost power to LaGuardia Airport.
Yeah.
And people were posting photos of basically being stranded in the airport and no emergency lights came on or anything. I mean, they like completely lost everything.
That's crazy, dude.
But
that's crazy. So moving on.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, this was fucking insane, especially having already had a child.
Yeah.
I pulled this one from an ABC affiliate, ABC 13 out of Texas and Arlington, Texas.
Okay.
And sorry, gotta wipe my nose real quick. Texas baby weighing nearly 15 pounds at birth breaks hospital record. Okay, so to put this into perspective for people that are not familiar with normal baby weights, newborn weights, my child, who it was a little bit under average, was 6 pounds 9 ounces. Okay, my child literally could have busted out of this child after it was birthed.
Well, no, but dude, this kid is like the size of like a
toddler, dude, a small toddler.
Well, or like a fucking turkey, like a Thanksgiving turkey.
Yeah, literally, yeah. Because honestly, we were looking at turkeys over at before Thanksgiving over at Kroger,
like 15
right around 14, 15 pounds.
Yeah,
I mean,
which
like,
is a heavy.
It's a big turkey. You know?
So. Something, and I know we don't have a ton of time slated for this article, but when you click into the article and you look at what's going on here, the parents are not small.
No, both parents are like definitely like.
So you know more
big
about this than I do, right?
Well, and they also said that their first child, because this is this couple's second child.
Okay.
Their first child was also a larger baby, but like not like this. Like, I probably like 10 pounds or something.
So is it? I mean, I'm completely ignorant to this subject, but is that unhealthy to have a 15-pound baby? Like, I mean, you those of you in Radio Land right now, hop on, take a look at our show notes. You'll see these parents are.
They're obese. They're
maybe morbidly obese.
Yeah,
you know.
Actually, I would say 100% morbidly obese.
These people are
both of them
very
around
very
300.
Big.
I would say
very big.
So
yeah, and so is this a function?
300 stones.
If this,
no, I'm just kidding.
Yes, and he that's with kilt, right?
He weighed the size of a baby oxen.
He was 300 stone. 300, you say?
It would take the power of 2 trebuchets to toss this child 100 yards.
So is this because the parents are fucking huge? Or is that related at all?
So I won't name names, but we actually had another couple that we know, and I know you know,
that had a baby that was that big.
That had a baby. No, not even remotely that big, but like somewhere around 10 pounds.
Okay.
And it basically the mom is smaller than Megan.
Okay.
A little bit taller, but like maybe like she's like 5'4", 5'6", and then dude, probably soaking wet like $1.15.
Okay.
Kind of thing, maybe.
Okay.
And she gave birth to C-section, 100 per. But she gave birth to a kid that I believe was close to 10 pounds.
Okay.
And so, I mean, it was one of these things that... And the other thing, this baby's size right now, yes, it's a huge kid, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to grow up to be a huge adult. I mean, you have babies that come out like fucking 7 pounds, and then they grow up to be like fucking LeBron James or some shit, you know?
Right.
But, or Shaq, you know, I guess would be a better... But anyway, so the kind of kooky thing, and the kid wasn't completely healthy when he came into this world. I believe he had some problems with like... let's see, what was it? I think he had like his platelets were off or something, some blood issues. But apparently that's being like righted right now. Excuse me. And it also, of note, the mom had polycystic ovarian syndrome, which can make it very hard for mothers to conceive. And so they really and they had actually had to use fertility drugs for the first child, and were right on the verge of having to use fertility drugs for the second child or whatever. But yeah, I which I don't know if they're... I mentioned the polycystic ovarian syndrome just as a side note because that might have something to do with it. But I really don't know. I didn't do a deep dive on, you know, potential birth, you know, effects of a mom that's got that. So. But yeah, man, it was just it was, and then the mom was like, let's see, the couple went through fertility treatments for their first child, and were about to start the process again when they learned that they were expecting Ali. And
is it Allie or
was it Allie?
I think it's a chick.
Allie.
Yeah. I think it's Allie.
But anyway, the doctors had told them that having a baby would be a long shot, and the mom was quoted as saying, "I love proving people wrong."
Yeah. So good for her.
Yeah,
good for her, man. Yeah. So anyway, y'all hop on and see how they make them babies in Texas, man.
Seriously,
serious fucking business.
Everything's big in Texas.
That's exactly right.
He came out gnawing on a T-bone.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
With a 10-gallon hat and some boots.
So okay, excuse me. Trucking on to the next one here, right? So pulled this article from nymag.com. It's a section of NYMag called Intelligencer. And the title of the article is "How Much of the Internet is Fake?" Turns out a lot of it, actually. All right, that's the little sub plug there for the article. So in it, and I'll give a brief overview, and then we'll dive into certain parts of this article. But in a nutshell, what this article discusses is just how complicated and in many ways purposefully convoluted sections of the internet are. In particular, digital advertising, which is a real challenge. There's an interesting group out of Memphis. I believe they're based in Memphis, but they do a little bit of work in Atlanta as well, called DevCon, DEVCON. They've got a really interesting dashboard for, helping publishers understand the pathway and kind of origin of advertisements on their website. The way that ads work on a website, and I know this because I was chatting with these guys about doing a little bit of work for them, and so I built an ad blocker to kind of help me understand how it worked. I had no fucking clue before I did this. But the way that it works is like each little window that you see on your on a website that has an ad in it is actually serving up. It's making a call to a server and then serving up content from that server. So it's like, think of it like a balloon with a shitload of strings hanging off of it, right? And so you've got...
Is this depending on... Is it like looking at your cookies kind of shit?
So it's complicated.
Kind of?
It's complicated because if the publisher themselves sells the ad space, sells that window space... they may be able to get $20, right? But what happens is that somebody else comes in and says, no, okay, you can get $20 if you sell it, and really, you're in the business of publishing. You're not maybe necessarily in the business of ad sales. So what we'll do is we'll give you $30 for that space, right? And we'll sell the space. And so then what they do is they pack as many advertisements into that space as they possibly can, and maybe they make $40 or $50 on it or whatever. You make more, but you don't have to do shit. The problem is the quality of your advertisements goes way, way, way down.
Gotcha.
There's no quality control.
Yeah.
And it's something that exacerbates this already complicated pipeline of delivery is the fact that an ad may be sold and then resold like 3 or 4 times before it ever hits your website. Right. And so figuring out who's delivering this ad and who it's come from, that's kind of a problem. And what this article suggests, so I'll read you a couple of high points from this, right? I'll just kind of read you the first part, and then I'll break off like the punchline here. Okay. In late November, the Justice Department unsealed indictments against 8 people accused of fleecing advertisers of $36 million in 2 of the largest digital ad fraud operations ever uncovered. Digital advertisers tend to want 2 things: people to look at their ads, and premium websites, i.e. established and legitimate publications, right? On which to host their ads. The 2 schemes at issue in the case, dubbed MethBot and 3VE by the security researchers who found them, faked both. Okay. Wow. Hucksters infected 1.7 million computers with malware that remotely directed traffic to spoofed websites, empty websites designed for bot traffic, that served up a video ad purchase from one of the internet's vast programmatic ad exchanges. Yeah. But that were designed, according to the indictments, to fool advertisers into thinking that an impression of their ad was served on a premium publisher site like that of Vogue or The Economist. Okay. Oh, shit. So these dudes are faking both fucking sides.
Gamers getting gamed.
Yeah. I mean, they're spoofing both sides. Yeah. They're spoofing, and the only thing that
that's kind of fucking funny to be honest.
Well, so what's interesting is DevCon. This is exactly what they do. Yeah. Is they kind of they provide software that helps to kind of untangle this super complicated process. Yeah. So here's the punchline: how much of the internet is quote fake? Right. Yeah. Studies generally suggest that year after year, less than 60% of web traffic is human. Some years, according to some researchers, a healthy majority of it is bot traffic.
That is so like...
Well, but here's the thing.
Okay, good.
Here's the thing. That, like, I can't say that shit and you just let me get away with that, right? Because like that is that's kind of a cheap thing to say, because there may be reasons that web traffic would be automated anyway. Like every time, like what does this mean? Does this mean does a human initiate every call, right? Like, or how much of a kind of like a call sequence? Like, so the way the internet works is that you've just got clients and you've got servers, right? And servers are the databases that hold, all of the content for a website like Twitter or Facebook or whatever. The client side is the side that you and I interact with, right? That's our browser. But there may be automated processes that are happening on the client side or server side that may be necessary to a process that frankly may be coded into a process, right? Where, for example, if I need to update, like let's say I'm using I'll go a little bit off the path here and then I'll come back and describe it in more detail. Okay. But let's say that I'm using I'm using Node.js, which is a JavaScript framework, right? It's like a JavaScript kind of middle,ware that allows you to control a backend or a database, right? And let's say I'm using Node.js to like push a bunch of data into a database, right? I may have to make a series of calls right, to this API to actually push all that information into the database. I might not be able to do it in one call for some reason. Whether that's by design or it's just like that's just the way that I set it up, you know, whether I meant to or not is irrelevant. And so my point is that like if, for example, you fill out a form and then the way that I've got this set up is that a series of calls have to go and change tables in my database. So it's like you submit the form and it says, okay, user is now Daniel Bradley. The user ID, which is something that typically occurs you know, when you assign a primary key in a database, when the database is updated, that key is automatically assigned. So let's say your person number 45 who register on the website, you get ID 45, and then that's the ID I handle on the back end, right? Okay. And so let's say that the first call says Daniel Bradley, and then the second call changes like the address, you know, field or whatever. The third call changes like the way the address field
and
is.
So this is all like
right, exactly. And so that's my point, right? Is that like it's not. I don't know that we can just simply just say, well, shitload of the traffic is bot traffic. I would just be interested in knowing how they define it, and then how they define it and how they kind of measure it. So anyway, that was one of the things. Less than 60% of web traffic is quote human, according to them in this study. And then one other thing that I wanted to mention here. So then we were talking about metrics, right? So it's like not only the definition of what is bot traffic, but then how you're measuring bot traffic, right? So here's from the section, the metrics are fake in this article. By the way, I highly, highly recommend going through this entire article. Take something as seemingly simple as how we measure web traffic. Metrics should be the most real thing on the internet. They're countable, trackable, verifiable, and their existence undergirds the advertising business that drives our biggest social and search platforms. Yet not even Facebook, which we fucking covered this year, the world's greatest data gathering organization, seems to be able to produce genuine figures. In October, which we covered, small advertisers filed suit against the social media giant, accusing it of covering up for a year its significant overestimates of the time users spent watching videos on the platform. By 60 to 80%, Facebook says. By 150 to 900%, the plaintiffs say. Either fucking way. It's bananas, man.
It's
and
way
so,
fucking
and
inaccurate.
So you've got the situation where like nobody is really clear as to like what's happening online, and then even,
but that's how the ad space is sold. That's by those fucking metrics.
That's exactly
that are like potentially completely inaccurate. So
and so let me just read this. Digital ad market. You want to take a stab of how big that is? Online. Digital ad market.
Digital ad market of, I don't know, 10 billion.
$88 billion.
Jesus. $88 billion.
Fuck yeah.
Of which, just taking we'll say it's close to 100 billion. And people are paying that and only getting probably about a third of their ads are actually reaching.
They don't
humans,
know.
Hopefully,
they don't know. They don't know. And
I guess I'm just extrapolating out from the 60 to 80% that Facebook says the most conservative estimate.
Right.
It's like, okay, that's just absolutely crazy.
Totally bonkers. But anyway, so I just thought that was a really interesting one because, I mean, this is like the big fucking lie of the internet, right? Facebook is an advertising company. Google is an advertising company. Like, advertising drives the web. Hard fucking stop. Not people paying for content that they want.
Dude, the web is literally a digital newspaper.
It is literally a digital newspaper.
You know what I'm saying?
So. Yes, I do. The smartest people in the world, the best engineers in the world, are working on the quote problem of getting people to click more ads. So
that's just fucking. I mean,
So
I didn't realize the market was that big.
It is that. Well, I mean, you think about it though. So here's the other interesting statistic that comes out of that $88 billion number. Which, by the way, let me to make sure that I am holding us accountable. That's from the website adexchanger.com, which I'm going to post.
Yeah.
And that number was published on May 10th, 2018, right, of this year.
Okay.
And this is according to the IAB Internet Advertising Revenue Report released by PricewaterhouseCoopers.
Okay.
So, but here's the other thing that I wanted to mention: $88 billion. Facebook and Google contribute 90% to the growth of that marketplace.
Oh my god!
So look, the internet is centralized. Hard fucking stop. You see what Facebook and Google want you to see. Hard fucking stop.
Centralized in the sense that you've got basically two tech companies running it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you recently, actually, this podcast is coming from Knoxville today, so I was driving up here today from Atlanta with some friends from Los Angeles, and my friend from LA was telling me that on the way up here that recently Microsoft scrapped Microsoft Edge, which was their browser.
Oh yeah, they just rebranded pretty recently.
Yeah, and they scrapped Microsoft Edge totally. And
from Internet Explorer.
And they're going to build it on Chromium. So
really?
on the chassis of Chrome. Right?
Yeah.
And so what the point is that it's centralized. It's only becoming more fucking centralized that and it is I really don't see any kind of end in sight there.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't know. What do you think about that, man?
No, that's just we spoke a little bit before this, and basically what we're talking about here is you have bots that are serving up ads kind of thing, and then you have man-made bots probably by either the same company or a company that's related to the first company mentioned that are putting bots out to click on those ads to artificially inflate click numbers,
right,
kind of thing.
Right.
It's just I just think, to be perfectly candid with you, it's like the ad market is cannibalizing itself almost.
Yeah, it is. But here's what's fucking wild: that enough is being purchased so that they are continuing to do it.
Yeah, but it's being purchased in regards to what metrics they're being fed.
Well, sure.
Right?
Well, maybe because think about it. If you're the advertising manager for ASICs, or what the fuck ever, and you're seeing year over year
growth, but
so
sales
imagine how weird this is. You have an ad spend that theoretically you're probably growing year after year. How are you measuring the efficacy of that within your own business?
But this is why I think that businesses straight up fucking hemorrhage money, is because all these different departments, basically the right hand doesn't know what the left hand's doing.
Okay, fine. But at what point does that come home to roost? When the company goes out of business?
No shit.
Because you're gonna see. To assume, let's not look at ASICs. Let's say Nike.
Okay.
Nike has, I am quite certain, and I'm speaking off the cuff here, but advanced software that helps them track their supply chains, that helps them track probably in-store sales in real time. They are well fucking aware of what an ad with Colin Kaepernick does, right? Theoretically. Or they should be. But how are they measuring this, man? Because if you've got this level of absurdity in digital advertising, digital marketing, which is the vast majority of marketing, I would think.
That's
eats up the most budget.
Yeah.
How, besides having Facebook self-report that 80% of the people that watch this video gave a shit 20% of the time, or what the fuck ever, right? Whatever absurd number salad they serve you up that every C-level guy nods to, pretending they get, or whatever. How are you measuring that campaign,
yeah,
and then the efficacy of that campaign in that marketplace. Like,
how does it play out in regards to literally
and I'm
profit,
saying year
like
over
gross, whatever,
year over year, or is it that we are in a, we're just in a moment in the the history of commerce where corporate profits are so fucking wild that it's like,
but that's, and honestly, I literally going off what you just said, I think that it's a scenario of you've got these people making decisions literally that are just looking at numbers. That's it.
Yeah.
They're not looking at fucking like, oh, did we... Well, everybody in each department is responsible for, and I'm oversimplifying this, I know, but we'll say one fucking number.
Okay.
They're only concerned with that number.
Okay.
They don't care how the fucking numbers work together. And that's why I think corporations are straight up fucking hemorrhaging money when their main focus is number chasing.
Yeah.
Because, like, to your point,
but that's gotta
how do you connect
but
that?
That's got to become apparent, right? Because these
you would
groups,
think.
Well, these groups are, they are advanced.
Yeah.
I refuse to believe they are not advanced because I have worked for larger companies, and in our own way, we were fairly advanced. Actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, though, it really depends on who you're. We're gonna move on here, but it really depends on who your customer is. Because one of the companies that I worked for, and here's what I mean: one of the companies that I worked for, it was possible to make unclear the amount of product that was actually being sold because we could pad those numbers, not in a way where we were lying or cheating about anything, but we were kind of supplementing the sales going out the door.
Yeah.
And what would happen is then this company, our largest customer, who was a big box retailer, would place these massive POs with us. And that was really our goal, right? Was pushing shit out the door to get another massive PO place. And so even if we had to pad what was happening at a store level by, offering deep discounts or rebates or buy one, get one that were like localized, nobody fucking cared.
Yeah.
Because in so long as like the velocity of this product was high going out of the store, and they were making money, which they were, and then we got our POs, everybody was cool, and so then it's like, okay, but then who are they trying to please? It's like stockholders, and so it's like a hot potato,
But I don't think that I think that no shit, it's kind of one of these things that yes, profits could be higher,
right?
But as long as they don't go under some whatever threshold that they have in their head, they don't fucking care.
Right.
Like, they honestly don't. But then as soon as it dips below that, if you don't think they're going to fucking tear apart the metrics hard fucking core, you know. But it's also one of those things, it's like, dude, look at stats.
Right.
You can get stats to fucking say whatever the hell you want them to.
Well,
period.
Of course, man. Of course. Because,
and that's all fucking metrics are.
Well, right. Because for, whatever. I mean, they always say when you're like doing a task, right, it takes you like 20% of the time to do 80% of the task, and then 80% of the time to do 20% of the task. It's like an 80-20 rule. It's fairly well known.
Yeah.
But my point is, for every 80%, there is a 20%, and depending on how you serve that up, it could be a really different way. But it's like,
but it's just, fascinating.
Let me. Here's what's interesting though. Yeah. When the tide is in, this shit makes a lot of sense, right? So what I mean by that is, like, when you are in the stage of the credit cycle that we seem to be in now, this seems to be something that is probably reaching like the heights of just insanity. But then when the economy recedes, then you start to see really this fucked up shit that's been going on, right? The tide goes out, and you start to see, how loose people have been with their technology and with their accounting and with their whatever. And so the reason I'm going to say this, I'll have this be my parting shot. I'd be interested to know how these numbers have changed since 2008, because 2008 happened, and I can guarantee you the belts are pretty tight.
Oh, yeah.
And now that everything's loosened up and the money's flowing and blah, 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 I'm sure that...
all those CEOs switch from belts to sweatpants.
That's right, man. That's right.
Get all the tasty profits.
That's right, man. They're tasty, finger-licking profits, man. Anyway, okay, well, take us over to...
Let's get racist.
Yeah, let's take us over to Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah, so...
Ultimate. And this was fucking crazy.
Yeah, so I feel like this is, I feel like I always end up bringing some kind of gaming article because at this point in my life, I have more time to read about gaming than I do to actually game. So, but it's also been fascinating how all of the, basically all of the social happenings of recent, like, sexual assault allegations and all of that stuff has changed how people develop video games and just like accusations of racism and all that stuff. So did you come around to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate accused of having racist content? This is a fucking Nintendo Switch game, okay? I don't know if I know that the vast majority, if not all listeners, are familiar with Nintendo. And the Switch is their latest console. And this has been a game in the works for a very long time that has a huge following. Okay. And so they, the way that the reason that they were accused of being racist, and it actually started with this thing. Let's see, they were criticized originally by perpetuating Native American stereotypes through one of Mr. Game & Watch's animations. Okay. Now, apparently Mr. Game & Watch is a playable character, I guess, in the game. But anyway, in one of his animations, he had a feather on the back of his head and a torch. Okay. And apparently it was a shout out to this old game... a previous here we go. It was a previous title from Nintendo, and I just wanted to see what the name of it was real quick. It was called Fire Attack, and basically the premise behind it was you were like some character or a group of characters defending a fort against Native Americans, and all of them, obviously, it came out in 1982, so all of the racism and whatever ethnic prejudices didn't exist at that point, or were unbeknownst or whatever. Anyway, so it was a shout back to that. So it was literally referencing history kind of thing. So anyway. So then, once they approached this game being going gold or whatever, meaning they're printing copies of it, and at that point, people started watching these things that apparently within the game you can unlock these things called spirits. Spirits are then used for different characters to enhance that character in some way, give you a better attack or whatever, better defense, whatever. So what ended up happening is, in order to unlock these different spirits, you have to play as a specific character in a certain scenario within the game. So it's like whatever half health as Donkey Kong or whatever, blah blah blah. Well, the main focus was Diddy Kong and Donkey Kong, because you had to play as those two characters, which, if you're not familiar with the characters, they are apes. Okay. And by playing as those two characters in the right scenario, you could unlock two spirits, of which both were black. Okay, they were previous black characters. Everybody's like, my God, this is ridiculous. This is so fucking blatantly racist, blah, blah, blah. Well, what people don't know is, for instance, having Donkey Kong, you had to play as him to unlock this guy by the name of Mr. Sandman. Mr. Sandman was one of Mike Tyson's Punch-Out from Nintendo, a character in that. All right. Okay. And a hidden character within Mike Tyson's Punch-Out was Donkey Kong. So you fought him. So that was their connection, kind of thing. But people don't know that. So it's like all they see is You gotta play as Donkey Kong to unlock a black guy. You know?
I mean, okay.
So anyway, so that was kind of the thing with the Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong or whatever. But and I guess playing as Diddy Kong under the right circumstances, you can unlock DJ, who is a Street Fighter character, a black Street Fighter character.
Okay.
And so the other thing that they everybody's, well, I guess the gaming community ragers are up in arms about is let's see. There's also a spirit in the game of Tak, a notorious thief from the Kirby series.
Okay.
So instead of fighting Kirby or Meta Knight when trying to unlock the Tak spirit, players fight a black version of the villager character from Animal Crossing.
Okay.
People have also pointed out that the battle with the black villager also sees the enemy with, quote, increased move speed, potentially perpetuating two racist stereotypes. That all black people can run fast and are thieves.
So this is something that is interesting to me because, like, I think that, and you'll just have to hang with me, right? Because we are talking about a fucking video game. But I think that there is something to, in a certain way, this conversation of like institutionalized racism, but I think it gets taken like way the fuck out of context. So what I'm saying is like, there are certain structures that were built on like imperialism, for example, right? Like, is imperialism inherently racist? I would say no. I would say imperialism is actually something much more brutal than racism, which is like absolute economic, and this is like a dicey word to be using, but economic servitude, we'll just call it, right? Yeah. Where, you know, a big, strong country goes into a not-so-strong country with no infrastructure, sets shit up, and says, now we own your ass, right? But I don't really think that that's necessarily, like, white society dominating these darker, societies with more melatonin.
Well, non-white.
Right. I don't think that that's so, but I think that, like, tons of racist shit comes out of that. But that also, interaction, and the reason, but I don't think the interaction inherently is racist. Yeah, is what I'm saying.
Well, it's like, I mean, dude. Staying with the imperialism,
right?
I think,
right.
The reason people think that is racist is because they're looking at history of how it was used, and drawing conclusions from the context. Right there.
Sure. And so I don't think you can deny that, like, you push this further. So I just want to clarify. I'm saying, what did absolute despicable racist shit happen in these fuck yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, you've got like
racism,
some of these some of the shit that went down with like King Leopold, like, you know, dismembering Africans who didn't see things, you know, his way or whatever. It's like some of the greatest fuckery in the history of the world. But what I'm saying is, like, at the outset, I don't think that the institution itself was racist. I think it empowered, like, certain racist beliefs, because it's like, if we're in control and we're white, and then and we're over this other, group who is non-white, then I think that I understand how this, like, absurd superiority conversation, gets propagated. It's fucking disgusting. It's weird. It's like many fucking things. The world has turned since then. I'd like to think that we're moving away from that. But my point is that structures can propagate racist shit.
Yeah.
So, like, institutional racism is a thing. It can happen. It does happen. It's a hard fact in my mind.
Yeah.
But I think having, and I think we should have an antenna up for things like that. Yeah. But I think that looking at a goddamn video game and being like, no, you just don't understand. You just can't, like, associate black people with monkeys. Like, no fucking shit. And I find it insanely hard to believe. Like, if you really dig into the ecosystem of Nintendo, right? The developers look like the people that are playing these fucking games, right? Now, I could be wrong about Nintendo. It could be totally based in Japan, and it's just a bunch of Japanese people sitting around hacking on this video game. Maybe. But that's probably not how the developer community is, like, set up. So I just don't think that somebody is laying, like, racist Easter eggs in these things to propagate dick. I think ultimately what they're doing is, like you're saying, there's this like deeper history of what's happened in these video games, and like I'm not aware of it.
Well, and don't get me wrong, dude. Yeah, you look back. I mean, fuck. There was this game called God, what was it called? Like Custer's Last Stand.
Okay.
And literally, the premise to the game was making it across the screen, dodging arrows, and bumping into this Native American girl like you were raping her.
Oh God.
And like her legs would like go up.
No,
dude, you gotta fucking look it up. Do I think that there was not insanely racist shit in the video game culture and in video game development stuff? Yeah, I completely agree.
Sure.
You know,
you just don't think that this is it.
I think that this is one of these scenarios that people just are. I would even go as far as to say people might have even started it off as a joke, and then it got a little traction, and then people fucking...
Yeah, I mean, here's the other thing, though.
Think about
people don't understand 4chan.
Yeah, no, people don't understand 4chan, and plus, there's literally no way to convey inflections and tone and stuff on the internet.
And dude, like so many gamers, like much love to all you gamers out there, but are also fucking trolls, man.
Oh,
like, come
100%.
on.
Yeah.
Like, and if you don't believe it, like hop into a chat.
Yeah.
In any of these, like,
dude,
you know,
dude, go into voice chat on any top fucking 50 game.
Yep.
Dude, all you're gonna hear is racist, stupid shit, but it's literally people saying this shit, probably not because they believe it, just to fucking get a rise out of other fucking people.
Right.
Like you said, dude, the gaming community and the troll community are probably one and the same.
So anyway, it just seems a little bit overblown. That being said, if people are concerned about it, it's up to Nintendo to like quell these concerns.
Well, and which I didn't mention this earlier, but the Mr. Game & Watch animation was actually patched out, kind of thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
So they've actually already patched that out. But
I just hope that they're not reactionary. What I'd like to see them do, because here's the other thing.
I hope they defend themselves.
Yeah,
dude, because I don't think there's anything there.
It's cheap. It's fucking cheap. Like, this is not the thing that is fucking infuriating about this, right? And like, you know, full disclosure, you're a white dude, I'm a white dude. I mean, we have like mixed ethnicity further back in our,
I'm married to a fucking Korean woman.
But I mean, so we have like these, you know, mixed ethnicity in our bloodline. Like you said, your kid is half Korean.
Yeah.
Your wife is from Korea. But it's like there are serious racial issues.
I will not. I will not argue
black men being incarcerated like they are. It's fucking crazy. Clearly, something's broken in the system, right? And so seeing this shit everywhere, which it may be in many places. There may be like some little tiff in a coffee shop or some dipshit, you know, makes some racist comment to somebody or whatever, and the coffee shop should be held accountable. That person should be held accountable. But like, this kind of thing to me kind of takes away. It's just like cheap Twitter justice, dude. Yeah. It's like screaming about for somebody to be, you know, crucified on this fucking social media account, and it's like you don't know who the accuser is. You don't know. There is no due process. There is no deep diligence around what the offense is, and so what? It gets patched. And this person is on to the next fucking thing? Like,
I mean, honestly, and this is probably not a very popular view, but I honestly think that it kind of comes back to a almost choosing your battles kind of shit. Not because I don't think everything should be addressed, but it's also by addressing things that are, you know, a fraction of being racist versus something that is completely and utterly racist,
or not even, or something that's like literally,
or something that could be
coincidental
versus something that's blatantly racist.
Yes, exactly, kind of thing, exactly. But I mean, we're this is a place where we are living in a world where opposing views are not welcomed from both sides, right? And so And that's fucking, that's crazy. It
sucks.
Man. Yeah, it's crazy. But I mean, I think that we're into long form. Other people are into long form. And we're
Hey man, let us know what you think via email or Instagram or Twitter or anything.
Exactly. Or we'll see you in the chat room.
Yeah.
We'll see you in the chat room for Donkey Kong. Okay, so moving on here. Consider the source on this one. Not a huge fan. U.S. News and World Report, but this is about the freshman congressional renegades, right? A couple of things I want to bring up on this. We're going to keep this article relatively short, but AOC, baby, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Yeah, excuse me, I got a little tongue tied there. Is she's yet to be sworn in, but she is the youngest person ever elected to Congress. Okay, and she is kind of has herself painted as a democratic socialist. She is Latina. And she will be representing the Bronx in the House, right? And so, along with AOC, you've got a couple of other new kind of freshman folks here. We've got a lady from Michigan, Rashida Tlaib, 42 years old. She's the first Palestinian American woman elected to the House. And we've got there's another lady that has been elected here, also Ilhan Omar. She's 36-year-old Democrat from Minnesota, and will become the first U.S. lawmaker to wear a headscarf or hijab on the House floor. And so what this article is about is just kind of leaning into some of the diversity that is I mean, frankly, that is being demanded and should be demanded in my mind in Congress, right? I mean, it is the country is diverse. Diversity of opinion fucking matters. We 100%. Know this from like statistics.
The whole concept of checks and balances.
That's exactly right.
And having lots of different views. So.
That's exactly right. And so we know this from like Statistics 101. If you have more and differing data points, you are going to get a better a
more accurate average, maybe, or something.
In the end, you're going to get a better outcome, right? And so you're starting to kind of see, these folks come in as this freshman class. I can't help but feel, though, that it's not really, you can cherry pick, like, so-and-so is the first 7 foot tall, person to be in Congress. So-and-so is the first African American, left-handed, like,
Skeet shooter.
You can, but you can pick and choose, how you want to phrase this. I think that like an article like this is going to be, or this kind of perspective is going to be slightly blown out of proportion because of our current administration. But I guess the reason that I wanted to put it up here is because, just from my perspective, this is really important. I think Congress, for many years, has not really been an accurate representation of the way that the country looks. That's largely because politics have become a business. Yeah, and there are certain people that are really good at the fucking business of politics. And that's how you can have some piece of shit who is 90 years old or whatever. I don't know if you guys remember Strom Thurmond, who had an oxygen tank and was nodding off at most. I mean, it was like absurd, right? It was like it became a meme before memes were a thing, right? And he had been in Congress for 60 fucking years or whatever. Like, that's bullshit. That's absurd. Dudes that look like Strom Thurmond, like, the changing of the guard needs to happen.
Term limits.
I just don't know that this is. I'm all about this article, and I'm all about like a different group of people coming in. I just don't know if this is the this is like the wave that this article suggests necessarily. But I guess I'll turn this over to you after this last comment here. I think it's exciting that there are kind of differences of opinion coming in. I think that like AOC branding herself as a democratic socialist, fuck it, awesome. People, I mean, we've covered this on the podcast before. Excuse me, people forget that anarchists were bombing schools in the early 20th century, killing children with dynamite in the early 20th century. Their flavor of politic was anarchist, right? They were branded as anarchists. So it's just like, I don't, democratic socialist, fuck it. If that's her point of view and her constituents want to put her in and that's what she wants to argue, and if the American people end up going in that direction, awesome. Maybe people didn't even know that democratic socialism was the fucking thing or whatever. Or her brand of socialism is somehow special or whatever. So anyway, I'm all about this. I just don't, I think that these articles are really just, aiming to kind of, I don't know. I think shit like this is getting much more traction because of the current admin. But dude, down for the diversity, down for these people to come in and see how they do. And then the last comment that I wanted to make on this, social media is, a hell of a tool. And my sense is that people like AOC, by the way, I'm just saying that because that's what I've heard popular pundits say. I don't mean that to be slighting in any way. But the new Congresswoman, AOC, like she's gonna slay. She's gonna slay ass when it comes to this. Like she knows the power of a meme. And so not having. I do believe that the internet and social media is going to be a huge catalyst for these people getting their message out.
You look at who has had like super big or really large responses to. I mean, shit, dude. It's like okay, case in point, fucking Taylor Swift.
Right.
She tweets out like, "Oh, go vote." Vote.org reports like a fucking 30% uptick in people registering to vote.
Yes.
Taylor Swift sends out one fucking tweet.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
These are really, really powerful platforms. And I saw
and I don't know if that's truly accurate about the 30%.
But it moved the needle.
It moved the needle substantially.
Yeah. So here's the thing that there are a couple of Twitter accounts that I follow. One I love is called the Stoic Emperor, right? And it's all about stoicism and kind of personal accountability and whatever. And I just really dig like the perspective. But it's a pseudo-anonymous account, so you don't really know who's behind it or whatever. But one of the things that is mentioned that I've seen written on Stoic Emperor, if you have Twitter, go follow this guy or gal. Again, don't know who's behind it, but man, really interesting perspective.
Yeah.
One of the things that this account tweeted out a little earlier this year was that the Roman emperors that are often branded as the most successful politicians in the history of politics, like of organized politics, he was like, or this account said, they would have been all over Twitter.
Yeah.
So, like, if you think about
look at
the moral
reach, dude, and look how much it costs,
and the moral obligation of a politician, like, let's put it in this context, is to perpetuate an agenda that they have, in some sense, pitched in many senses, pitched to constituents. And constituents have said, not this one, not that one, but that agenda is the one that I'm interested in.
Yeah.
And so once you get that traction and you start using these force multipliers to get your agenda out to more people, these pockets of more people, I think what we're going to see with politicians is the same shit that we're seeing across like really all genres of things that people are connected to. Now you can take gamers and you can break gamers out into people that are, RPG, way into RPGs, into massive
multiplayer online.
Yeah, exactly. And so now this concept of gamer, because we actually have access to these people and can like target, and understand what that target means.
Compartmentalize
all Democrats are not Democrats. All Republicans are not Republicans. And and so we are going to see And actually, I may have just talked myself into believing more firmly that a third party or a series of third parties is going to emerge.
Yeah.
Because there's no fucking way.
I think everybody's getting sick of a fucking bipartisan.
I think you're right, and
know?
I think that now, as we just talked that out, I started thinking like, oh shit, well, if you are a democratic socialist revivalist or whatever the fuck, but not a democratic socialist futurist or whatever, they could slice that.
Yeah. Yeah. And so real quick, a shout back to what I said about Taylor Swift, just showing the power of fucking social media. The lady, let's see, the communications director for Vote.org cited a surge of 65,000 registrations in the 24 hours after Swift's Instagram post, compared to 190,000 new voters registering in the entire month of September, and just 56,000 in August. So
it's a big deal.
It was a fucking big uptick,
yeah,
kind of thing, in 24 hours.
Yeah.
So, I mean, dude, yeah, the power of social media is fucking, it's it's crazy. And any fucking politician or anybody that wants to have some mad outreach very easily, fucking needs to embrace it.
Yeah, and it's I'm down, dude. I mean, I'm down. Like my whole thing is like when you start hearing about these trends, you know, or you start noticing that a trend is happening, just because it's something different than you're used to, like lean the fuck into it, man.
Yeah.
Because you want to stay relevant and you want to stay up to date, and like you never know. Like it is the hardest decision that you'll ever have to make in your life is to be a continued learner. And to be willing to say at 40, like, I don't know any more fundamentally than I do, or I should say, I don't know any more, relatively at 40 than I did at 20, because I've got 20 years, and I've learned all these things, but I've also realized how much more there is to learn.
Yeah.
And I think that, like, that, as you kind of track that percentage of shit you know versus shit you don't, the more you know, the more you realize that you don't know. And so, like,
well, I think that's a famous quote.
I'm sure it is. I definitely am not coming up with that myself. But my point is that that's something to lean into. And so, you know, I hope that people in older generations do. Okay, trucking on, man. We have got this little article here from Engadget. Break us off with that.
So real quick, it was Aristotle.
Okay, there we go.
The more you know you don't know. That was what was said.
I find it hard to believe it was phrased like that, but
the more you know, I don't know nothing.
You don't know dick.
You don't know dick, dummy. Hang it up, learn.
Yeah,
I think that's what was actually
said.
That was it.
But anyway, tell us about this Engadget article.
Yeah, man. So I thought this was actually pretty cool, but at the same time, I kind of agree with a lot of the commenters down at the bottom. So anyway, I pulled this one from Engadget, and it was titled "Wearable Sensor Can Detect Imminent Opioid Overdose."
Okay.
So the way this thing, well, first of all, let's see. I was trying to figure out so it's called the Hope Band, and students from Carnegie Mellon University are basically developing it.
Okay.
Kind of thing. So the concept behind it is it is a wristband that is constantly using I believe an infrared light that shoots in, checks for reflectivity, and figures out your pulse oxygen level. Kind of thing.
Okay.
So or your pulse oximetry. So the whole concept with that is pulse oximetry is directly correlated with
You're saying pulse oximetry?
Correct.
Okay.
It's directly correlated to the oxygen in your blood.
Okay.
So once you fall below, I want to say literally high 90s, like probably 97.
Okay.
It might be of concern.
Okay.
97% kind of thing. So, which this is all good and fine.
Okay.
Because the whole concept behind this is you have this device that's constantly monitoring your pulse ox.
Okay.
And once it starts to decrease, it alerts you, and that potentially you could go into respiratory depression, which is the side effect that basically kills opioid users when they OD.
Okay.
The problem is the fact that it's like, if they're already trending in that way, I know that both of us have been very drunk.
Right.
Do you think that this person's gonna fucking do anything about it?
No.
I mean, it's like, dude, you spike your vein or snort some oxy or something.
No. And the reality of it is, you and I were talking about this. We've had a couple conversations about this opioid crisis, but like, there are multiple accounts of people ODing, people using Narcan to bring them back, and those people getting violent and angry because they're not high anymore.
Yeah, because it takes them directly from ODing to withdrawal. Yes. So, but
so my point is that this is a complicated fucking.
Well, it's a complicated mess. Plus, I mean, dude, you know, I've only known one opioid addict in my life, you know, and I can only imagine. I know how she treated anything in her life, and basically she saw it seemed like she saw most things as, oh well, how much shit can I score for that?
Right.
And so it's like, dude, can you really expect somebody that, you know, I mean, this is all cool, and you know, it's a it's a very neat piece of tech. And I think that you can actually get it to where it will shoot the wearer's location and like a text out to somebody or something like that.
Right.
But I mean, dude, that's saying that this person has a fucking cell phone plan,
right?
Unless they, you know, happen to get some kind of philanthropy, you know, to put up some network, some free shitty cell network for these devices, or whatever.
Right.
I mean, like, I think it's a step in the right direction, maybe.
Right.
But like, damn, if we're not fucking really far from actually, you know, somebody actually in the comments, I really wanted to find this comment real quick, because it's basically like putting a Band-Aid on a fucking slit artery.
Right. Right.
You know, I mean, it's just like, dude, you know, you're not treating the fucking problem, you're treating the symptoms.
Right.
You know? Right. And so I'm a true believer in, hey, go to the fucking source.
Yeah.
And the source ain't fucking, you know, the addict.
Let
me put it that way.
Yeah, yeah, and it's I don't know, with this tech, like, there are going to be other applications that are going to emerge that are going to be much more useful, but having, like, a fucking...
I think this tech could be more useful with other disease states.
Right.
Let me put it that way.
Right.
You know, or something else. It's like fucking I remember, and I think I've already mentioned this on an earlier episode, but I remember back in undergrad, they were working on... Because my undergrad was in microbiology.
Right.
And they were talking about developing, and I mean, this was super fucking early back then. I don't know if anything's been done with it, but taking a chip and getting a bacteria grown and contained on that chip, that they've spliced in a human insulin production, you know, like fucking pancreas cell or something.
Okay.
You know? They splice that in the bacteria, embedded that in the chip. They take that chip, embed it in some, like a diabetic's arm.
Okay.
It's constantly monitoring their blood sugar.
Okay.
So that if their blood sugar gets too high, the bacteria would get triggered to start producing insulin.
Okay. Okay.
Which, I mean, dude, fucking A. You're taking out the... you're literally making insulin pumps obsolete,
right?
And it's completely autonomous to the actual patient,
right?
Super fucking cool. I could see that would be, you know, obviously nothing's been done with that, or they're just probably in a patent battle, but I could see that, you know, something like this, a real time somehow, like, you know, if somebody don't want to fuck with a pump and they just, you know, wearing this thing and having, you know, some kind of it be able to monitor your blood sugar or whatever, and at real time, you know, which literally is what a pump is doing. But yeah, I mean, I think that this is one of those like shots in the dark that, in my opinion, was a complete miss.
Yeah, well, and it's cool tech, and it'll probably, hopefully, be repurposed.
Yeah, exactly.
For something a little bit more interesting. So, coming into the final
this one's a little bit lighter, and like, honestly, you see this woman, and the only way that I could describe her is rode hard and put up wet.
Oh, really? I haven't even seen this picture. Yeah. Is she gnar?
So, yeah, she's gnar. But anyway, this woman was arrested for putting her ex's naked photos on a fence outside his kid's school.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So this lady in Chandler, Arizona.
Oh God, dude, have you been to Chandler?
No.
Okay.
Does this make sense?
Yeah, yes, it does.
Well, anyways, she was arrested because on charges of unlawful distribution of nude images and harassment when she allegedly taped nude photos of her ex-boyfriend on a fence outside his kid's elementary school, according to court documents.
Okay.
So basically, what happened was someone put these photos up. 2 girls saw it and reported it. The school took it down, notified the parents of the students who saw it.
Okay.
I guess had to explain what a bean whacker was.
Right.
Because apparently it's just like straight up frontal nudity, like kind of shit, revenge porn shit.
Right.
But anyway, so the man was identified. He contacted by the police. He was the only person in the photos, and he was like, "I'm pretty fucking sure it was my ex-girlfriend, Deborah Britton."
Oh God.
Okay, so
and this woman looks fucking crazy.
She looks fucking crazy as a loon, man. But anyway, so the funny thing is she was arrested before like any of this happened,
right? On
an unrelated warrant. So it's like, dude, she was just a fucking like menace.
So
period.
Look, here's what we've learned this episode, right? We've learned that most of the internet is fake. We've learned that don't send your dick pics to your girlfriend when she knows where your kids go to school. That's a very specific lesson. But we've learned that. And we've learned that, you know, if you're into opiates and you're responsible, there are ways to keep yourself alive.
Yeah, dude.
But
and the way is called a hope band.
Yeah.
Check it out for they're hoping to make it about between $16 and $20. So
there you go, man. There you go. Well, all right. So the holidays are done. We've got New Year's a couple of days away. We are leaning forward into 2019 here at Tether Radio, and we are looking forward to bringing you.
Do the horn. What do you mean? I can't remember. It makes me think of that fucking dude on the show Superstore.
Oh right,
the like super trashy boyfriend.
Right. Air horn. But thank you for joining us in 2018. We did 30 episodes this year. That was one a week, so it's 30 weeks. We're going to do all 52 in 2019.
And hopefully some special ones sprinkled in there.
That's exactly right. Some special flavor just for you. But this was episode 30 of Tether Radio Podcast. We are wrapping 2018 with a huge fucking bang. Look, we love your opinions. So send us the hate mail, send us the love, send us everything in between to tetherradio@gmail.com. That's TETHERRADIO@gmail.com. You can find us on Twitter at tether_radio. You can find us on Instagram, the same handle at tether_radio, and of course Facebook, who actually we didn't beat up on today at all, which is weird.
And so real quick side note on Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg was apparently like quoted as saying something along the lines of, "We had a pretty good 2018."
Yeah, yeah. Okay, see you next year, Zuck. Get the fuck out of here, dude. But you can find us on Facebook. Num num num. Tether Radio, all one word. We are on the book, so find us over there. Thanks again for spending an hour and a half with us today, an hour and 15 minutes with us today, and for hanging out with us for about 30 weeks this year. We've got some super cool programming that we're really excited about in 2019, and we'll be rolling that out slowly but surely. So this has been episode 30 of Tether Radio. I'm Joseph.
And I'm Daniel.
And we are reminding you to stay tethered, friends. So we will see you in the new year.